Did Meghan Markle get kicked off the red carpet at the Children's Hospital LA Gala?
Well, the one place that they were hanging out in LA, they actually, like I heard from people in LA, that they actually got barred.
Meghan Markle felt humiliated on Prince Harry's most recent UK trip.
Markle has been forced to leave the Invictus Games. Well, Anna Wintour has just banned Meghan Markle and Prince Harry from the Met Gala.
Overnight, a spokesperson for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle saying the couple is being kicked out of their Windsor home.
Meghan Markle has faced her share of seriously awkward public moments, but some clips and reports have sparked way more debate than others. From royal ceremonies where protocol suddenly became impossible to ignore, to Hollywood events surrounded by questions about how she ended up there, these moments have kept people talking. We're breaking down 17 occasions that critics have described as Meghan being redirected, excluded, or publicly snubbed. And some are much more uncomfortable than they first appear. After Harry and Meghan settled into Montecito, attention quickly shifted from royal life to the kind of private social circle they might build in California. And according to claims that have circulated over the years, getting accepted into some of the area's most exclusive spaces may not have been as effortless as people expected. Lady Victoria Hervey has publicly suggested that Meghan's relationship with elite private clubs became complicated because privacy was supposedly difficult to maintain whenever she appeared. Her argument was basically that wealthy members join these places precisely because they don't want cameras waiting outside or their evening becoming tomorrow morning's headline. From that perspective, having photographers suddenly appear around a supposedly discreet dinner would obviously annoy people paying serious money for privacy.
Well, the one place that they were hanging out in LA, they actually, like I heard from people in LA, that they actually got barred.
What happened?
Well, the private members club where they organised to have paparazzi outside in West Hollywood, they're not allowed to go back.
Really? Sorry, a private members club banned Harry and Meghan because they secretly asked for paparazzi?
Yeah.
But there's an important distinction here. Claims that Harry and Meghan were rejected or later removed from multiple private clubs have circulated heavily through commentary and tabloid coverage. But that doesn't mean every version has been independently confirmed. What is clear is that their presence attracts attention almost anywhere they go, and that can create an awkward clash with places built around discretion. Then came a very different controversy in Los Angeles. In October 2024, Meghan appeared at a gala supporting Children's Hospital Los Angeles, walking the carpet in a red Carolina Herrera dress and posing alongside people connected to the event. But afterward, speculation started spreading about whether Meghan had attended as an officially announced guest or had simply accompanied someone else. That distinction matters because some online commentary quickly jumped from she wasn't publicly listed to the much stronger claim that she had crashed the event and was eventually escorted out. Those are serious claims, and there doesn't appear to be solid public evidence proving that version of events. What people could see, however, was Meghan making a noticeable appearance before reportedly leaving relatively early. That alone was enough to get social media detectives working overtime. Critics questioned why her appearance seemed brief, while supporters argued that attending with another guest would hardly be unusual at a charity function. The situation became even messier when additional claims circulated, suggesting Meghan had been taking photographs involving young hospital patients. Again, that narrative should be treated carefully. Events connected to children's hospitals naturally require extra sensitivity, particularly when young patients are involved, and there is a major difference between verified event photography and the more dramatic accusations pushed around online. So instead of proving Meghan was literally thrown out of the building, this episode became another example of something that follows her constantly.
Did Meghan Markle get kicked off the red carpet at the Children's Hospital LA Gala? Let's put it this way. I've got a clip for you guys, and it doesn't look pretty.
A short public appearance happens. Questions start flying, and suddenly the internet has 10 different versions of what supposedly went down. The Children's Hospital. Los Angeles appearance only became more confusing once different versions of the night started circulating. Some people pushed back against the idea that Meghan had been removed at all, with claims suggesting she spent part of the event around Jimmy Kimmel and other recognizable guests. But critics immediately pointed to something they felt was missing: clear public photos showing Meghan and Kimmel actually seated together. That doesn't automatically prove the story was false. Private charity events aren't photographed every second, and the absence of one specific picture isn't evidence that something never happened. Still, when completely different accounts of the same evening are competing online, it's easy to understand why the debate refused to disappear. Then there's an older royal clip that has followed Harry and Meghan for years. Shortly after their 2018 wedding, the newly married couple attended a garden party at Buckingham Palace celebrating then Prince Charles's 75th birthday. On camera, everything initially looked perfectly normal. Meghan spoke with guests, Harry appeared alongside his family, and the couple participated in the event. Then they left, surprisingly early. That early departure became internet detective material almost immediately. One popular version of the story claimed Meghan had expressed that she wanted to leave, with Camilla supposedly becoming aware of it. From there, the story gets even more dramatic, with claims that Charles decided Harry and Meghan should simply head out rather than remain at the celebration. Some retellings even attribute a direct line to Charles, claiming he told Harry, "Your car is waiting outside. It is time to leave." But that alleged private conversation has never been firmly established through the public footage itself, so it shouldn't be presented as confirmed fact. What viewers can actually see is Harry and Meghan saying goodbye before leaving the event. The exact reason remains disputed. Some accounts have suggested their departure had been planned beforehand, while critics continue to interpret the footage as evidence that the couple were unexpectedly shown the exit. And because the moment happened so soon after their wedding, it became even more noticeable. Meghan had barely settled into official royal life before ordinary questions about schedules and protocol were already being transformed into whispers about tension behind palace walls. But another reported meeting brought the attention straight back to the royal family. More recently, reports surrounding Meghan and Prince Harry's relationship with King Charles described a private meeting at Highgrove lasting roughly 45 minutes. Considering how much tension has surrounded the Sussexes and the royals for years, even a meeting that short would naturally attract major attention. Some commentary framed it as a possible first step toward reconciliation. Other reports painted a much colder picture, suggesting the meeting came with firm boundaries and was deliberately kept private. There were no official photographs released, no big public family moment, and no dramatic announcement afterward. And that silence became part of the story.
Meghan Markle felt humiliated on Prince Harry's most recent UK trip, and that the trip turned into a nightmare, forcing Markle and her children to return home to California earlier than they had hoped.
Critics interpreted the lack of publicity as a sign that Meghan didn't get the grand royal comeback they believed she wanted. But that interpretation goes beyond what can actually be confirmed. A private meeting staying private could just as easily mean exactly that. The people involved didn't want cameras turning a sensitive family conversation into another media spectacle. Either way, anyone expecting some massive public reconciliation was left with very little to work with. Around 45 minutes behind closed doors, followed by departure, is a long way from the emotional reunion some headlines had been building up. Then there's the Invictus Games, where Meghan's visibility has become another major point of debate. Prince Harry founded the Invictus Games to celebrate wounded, injured, and sick service personnel and veterans. Over time, Meghan became increasingly visible beside him at Invictus events, appearing during ceremonies, public engagements, and promotional moments. Critics started arguing that her presence was becoming too dominant, especially when coverage focused heavily on her outfits, appearances, and interactions instead of the competitors themselves. Claims also surfaced about expensive accommodations, security arrangements, travel, and other supposed demands connected to the couple. That created a brutal question. Was celebrity attention helping Invictus get more coverage, or was the Sussex spotlight beginning to overshadow the people the games were actually created for?
Markle has been forced to leave the Invictus Games, axed by Prince Harry after another PR disaster. The reasons behind this are extraordinary.
There is a lot behind the scenes that you don't see and hear about. And that is what I heard about her being told to leave. There were issues with the sponsors and that they did not want her there. There was a big blow up around it. And eventually she just ended up leaving. And I think because it was so abrupt, it wasn't planned.
Some online stories went even further and claimed officials had effectively pushed Meghan aside, but there isn't solid public evidence establishing that she was formally kicked out of Invictus. So the stronger version of that story should be treated as speculation rather than fact. Long before the royal titles, palace appearances and worldwide headlines, Meghan Markle had a completely different television job. In 2006, she appeared as one of the models holding briefcases on Deal or No Deal, a role that has followed her for years because of what she later said about the experience. But there's also a much more dramatic story floating around about why her time on the show ended. Some online claims have suggested Meghan became overly friendly with host Howie Mandel and that his wife supposedly wasn't happy about it. The story goes even further, alleging that pressure was eventually applied to have Meghan removed from the programme. There's one major problem though, there doesn't appear to be reliable evidence confirming that version. Meghan herself has explained her departure very differently. Years later, she said the job left her feeling reduced to her appearance and that she wanted work where she could be valued for more than simply standing beside a briefcase.
I think it's him. I think it was Howie Mandel.
That's right, Howie Mandel. Howie Mandel, Meghan zeroed in on him. She was full of ideas. She was sort of, very, very Meghan. And his wife said, sorry, you've got to get rid of her. And he got rid of her because Meghan was using him as yet another stepping stone.
Okay, but you're not saying, you're saying what, she was a bit flirty?
Very flirty and very suggestive.
She has also talked about previously working at the US Embassy in Argentina and studying international relations, which apparently made the contrast feel even stronger to her. That explanation attracted plenty of criticism. Some former Deal or No Deal models pushed back against the suggestion that the job was degrading, while others understood Meghan's point as being about her personal experience rather than an attack on everyone involved. The fashion world has created a different kind of rejection narrative. Meghan has developed major connections with designers and fashion publications over the years, which naturally leads to one recurring question whenever Met Gala season arrives. Will she finally appear? When high-profile guest lists and predictions started circulating around the 2026 event, Meghan's absence once again became part of the conversation.
Well, Anna Wintour has just banned Meghan Markle and Prince Harry from the Met Gala.
That quickly produced claims that Anna Wintour had personally blocked her invitation because of alleged disagreements connected to Vogue and Meghan's supposed desire for greater editorial control. That makes for a spicy story, but unless the organisers confirm who was specifically rejected, there's a huge difference between not attending the Met Gala and being personally banned from it.
Stings particularly hard for the Duchess, who actually had a shot at attending this year's costume art-themed event, given that two of the co-chairs, Beyoncé and Venus Williams, have loose connections to her social circle.
The event's guest list is famously selective, and plenty of internationally famous people never receive invitations. So Meghan's absence can definitely inspire speculation, but it doesn't automatically prove some secret fashion world feud. One of the most replayed examples came during Prince Harry and Meghan's royal tour of Morocco in 2019. The couple arrived for a formal military ceremony where Harry was expected to inspect a guard of honour. A red carpet had been placed directly in front of him, and at first glance it looked like Meghan might naturally walk beside her husband. Except that wasn't how the ceremony was supposed to work. As Harry stepped forward, Meghan appeared ready to follow him onto the carpet. Before she could continue, an official quickly approached and directed her away from Harry's path. Meghan briefly exchanged words with the official before moving to the side while Harry continued down the red carpet alone. And that tiny interaction created a huge reaction online. Some viewers interpreted the footage as Meghan being deliberately excluded, while others pointed out that formal royal and military ceremonies can involve extremely specific protocol. In other words, the clip itself shows Meghan being redirected, but it doesn't prove the more dramatic claims that circulated afterward about why it happened. Still, the visual was undeniably awkward. Harry was walking straight down the red carpet while Meghan continued alongside it, separated by only a small distance, but clearly following a different route. For critics already watching every move she made, that was more than enough to turn a few seconds of footage into another major talking point. Then came a palace moment that looked awkward without needing much internet exaggeration. In 2019, the royal family gathered at Buckingham Palace for a reception marking 50 years since Charles had been formally invested as Prince of Wales. Before the larger reception, Queen Elizabeth II, Charles, Camilla, William and Catherine were expected to view a special display connected to the investiture. Video from the event shows Harry and Meghan standing nearby before members of the senior royal group entered. Charles appears to gesture as arrangements are being made, and Harry and Meghan ultimately remain behind rather than joining the smaller group. Naturally, the clip exploded online. Some viewers became convinced Harry and Meghan had attempted to enter an area they weren't supposed to access and had been stopped. More dramatic retellings even described them as being physically escorted away. But the footage doesn't clearly prove that entire narrative, so saying they were literally thrown out would stretch what can actually be confirmed. Even without that interpretation, the visual created exactly the kind of royal hierarchy moment that gets people talking. One group moving forward while Harry and Meghan stayed back. And Wimbledon brought another awkward rules controversy. During Meghan's 2019 appearance at the tournament, questions emerged about her clothing and access to certain areas. Wimbledon's royal box has traditionally maintained a formal dress code, and denim is generally considered inappropriate for entry. Meghan arrived wearing jeans and a hat while watching Serena Williams play. Reports later suggested her outfit meant she wasn't dressed appropriately for the royal box. The hat created another interesting comparison. During an earlier Wimbledon appearance alongside Catherine, Meghan carried a white hat rather than wearing it while seated in the royal box, consistent with etiquette discouraging hats because they can block spectators' views. So when Meghan later arrived dressed much more casually, critics immediately saw another example of royal privilege meeting a rule that wasn't going to bend. Still, it's more accurate to say her clothing reportedly prevented royal box access than to claim Wimbledon dramatically kicked her out. Nobody needed to physically remove Meghan from centre court. Sometimes a dress code can create enough drama all by itself. And then came New York. In 2023, Harry and Meghan attended an awards ceremony in Manhattan before becoming involved in the highly publicised photographer incident afterward. Their spokesperson described what followed as an extremely dangerous pursuit through the city, while other accounts, including comments from authorities and people involved, presented a less dramatic picture of exactly what happened. But another detail soon entered the conversation. Reports claimed Harry and Meghan had approached the Carlisle about accommodation and supposedly wanted a complimentary room. The hotel has a historical connection to Princess Diana, who stayed there during visits to New York, making the allegation even more attention-grabbing. According to that version, the request wasn't accepted, and the couple ultimately stayed at a private residence instead. Critics later connected that accommodation decision to the complicated journey after the event, arguing that staying at a secure luxury hotel might have created an easier entrance and exit away from photographers. But that doesn't mean a hotel dispute caused everything that followed, and responsibility for unsafe behaviour around a vehicle can't simply be pinned on someone for choosing where to sleep. Still, the whole episode became another example of how quickly one logistical decision involving Harry and Meghan can explode into a much bigger controversy. What began as an awards night appearance soon turned into arguments about photographers, security, hotel arrangements, and competing versions of what actually happened on the streets of New York. Before Meghan Markle became one of the most recognisable women in the world, there was reportedly an awkward encounter at one of New York City's hottest restaurants. And unlike some of the wilder stories surrounding her, this one comes from a man who says he witnessed the situation himself. Michael Cecchi Azzolina, a former maître d' at Le Coucou, recalled an encounter involving Meghan in his memoir. According to his account, Meghan arrived at the Michelin-starred restaurant in 2017 while she was dating Prince Harry, accompanied by someone who asked for special seating. Cecchi Azzolina said the accompanying guest pushed for a private table, emphasising Meghan's relationship with the prince. But Le Coucou regularly served celebrities, executives, and extremely wealthy customers, so that argument apparently didn't carry much weight. According to his version, there simply wasn't a private table available, and Meghan wasn't getting one just because of who she was dating. Ceci Azzolina described Meghan herself as relatively quiet during the interaction, meaning the demanding behaviour he recalled largely came from the person accompanying her. That distinction matters. The story has often been retold as Meghan personally storming into the restaurant demanding royal treatment, but that isn't exactly how Ceci Azzolina described it. Then there's a much darker college rumour that has circulated online for years. The claim says Meghan was involved in a sorority prank at Northwestern University involving adhesive near someone's eyes, supposedly resulting in serious consequences. More extreme versions claim she was removed from her sorority or temporarily suspended from the university before her father stepped in. But there's no reliable public evidence establishing that story as fact. No credible documentation has surfaced proving Meghan caused such an incident, was expelled over it, or that Thomas Markle arranged secret agreements afterward. So while the rumour continues popping up online, presenting those details as confirmed history would be misleading. And finally, there was another public moment involving Serena Williams' husband, Alexis Ohanian. Footage circulated showing Meghan approaching Ohanian during an event and greeting him enthusiastically while people behind them were trying to watch what was happening. The interaction itself looked friendly, but Meghan's position briefly obstructed the view for others. That's when things got uncomfortable. People nearby could be heard reacting and trying to get the obstruction cleared, turning what should have been a quick greeting into another clip critics could replay from every angle. Whether Meghan simply lost track of where she was standing or got caught up in the moment, the optics were rough. And that's what makes these moments spread so quickly. Sometimes there doesn't need to be some giant secret confrontation. A restaurant saying no, an invitation that never arrives, or standing in the wrong place for a few seconds can create more than enough controversy. That awkward audience moment didn't end with security stepping in or some dramatic removal. Instead, Meghan appeared to grab Harry and the two quickly made their way out. Critics interpreted the fast exit as another uncomfortable public moment, although there's no solid evidence they were actually ordered to leave. Sometimes the optics alone are enough to send a clip flying across social media. But the biggest door that closed on Harry and Meghan wasn't at a restaurant, charity event, or celebrity gathering. It was connected to the royal life they left behind. When Harry and Meghan stepped away as senior working royals in 2020, they gained the independence they said they wanted. But that decision also changed their access to royal privileges. Frogmore Cottage remained their UK residence for several years, until the couple confirmed in 2023 that they had been asked to vacate the property. And the timing immediately raised eyebrows. The request came shortly after Harry released Spare, his explosive memoir about life inside the royal family.
Overnight, a spokesperson for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle saying the couple is being kicked out of their Windsor home, telling NBC News the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have been requested to vacate their residence at Frogmore Cottage.
That naturally led critics to connect the two events, although Buckingham Palace never publicly confirmed that the book was the reason behind the decision. Either way, Frogmore Cottage was no longer theirs. After years of using the Windsor property as their British base, Harry and Meghan officially cleared it out. Then there's perhaps the most visible symbol of their changed royal status, the Buckingham Palace balcony. Before stepping away, Meghan appeared alongside the royal family during major occasions such as Trooping the Colour. But once Harry and Meghan stopped being working royals, those appearances disappeared. The balcony lineup became much tighter, focusing on King Charles and working members of the royal family. That meant no Harry and no Meghan. And in royal terms, that visual matters.
The Queen has culled the guest list for one of the key moments of her Platinum Jubilee celebrations. Only working members of the royal family are permitted to join her on the balcony at Buckingham Palace, meaning the Duke and Duchess of Sussex and Prince Andrew have been...
The balcony is one of the biggest images produced during major royal celebrations. Millions of people see the family standing together, waving from Buckingham Palace. Going from being part of that lineup to being completely absent showed just how dramatically Harry and Meghan's positions had changed. Queen Elizabeth II's funeral in 2022 created another wave of discussion. Meghan attended alongside Harry and other members of the royal family, but viewers immediately started analysing the seating arrangement inside Westminster Abbey. Harry and Meghan were seated in the second row behind King Charles, Queen Camilla, and other senior royals. Then one candle became strangely famous.
However, viewers were shocked to see that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were relegated to the second row during the Queen's funeral.
Because of the television camera angle, a large candle partially blocked Meghan from view during portions of the service. Social media immediately turned it into a symbolic moment, with people joking that even the candle had pushed Meghan away from the spotlight. Of course, there's no evidence the candle was deliberately positioned to hide her. At an event planned around ceremony, security and protocol, camera angles can create moments that look far more calculated than they actually are.
Being seated in the second row at Queen Elizabeth II's funeral, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were reportedly excluded from a state event held at Buckingham Palace. King Charles III hosted leaders from around the globe who had traveled to London to attend the funeral. While Harry and Meghan were reportedly initially invited, the palace later decided that only working royals should be in attendance.
There was also controversy surrounding a reception for world leaders held around the funeral period. Harry and Meghan were reportedly not among those attending after questions emerged over whether the gathering was limited to working members of the royal family. And that really captures the bigger pattern behind many of these 17 moments. Some involve documented rules or changes in royal status, while others have been heavily exaggerated through rumours, tabloid reports, and social media interpretation. So which moment do you think was the most awkward? And do you think another celebrity controversy will eventually get added to the list? Drop your take in the comments. If you enjoyed the breakdown, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more celebrity stories and drama. And don't leave yet. Click the next video you see on your screen for another celebrity story with even more drama waiting to be unpacked. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.